What's poppin', y'all? Some rappers just love prison because Pooh Shiesty, who had recently got out towards the end of last year, he got arrested again.
Document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendant's roles in the federal offense. This is as follows. Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions. Cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed following the offense. Fingerprint evidence as well that was recovered from the crime scene, matching at least two of the defendants. Social media posts by defendants displaying what appears to be stolen property just in the days following the offense. Greyhound bus records confirming the travel of multiple defendants from Dallas to Memphis the day after the offense.
So this is absolutely maniacal. The first time I ever heard about this was back in January. Towards the end of January is Adam 22 that reported on this, and it was just a rumor.
The story that's going around that everybody's scared to report on, and this is just a rumor, is that basically Pooh Shiesty and Choppa Gang ran down on Gucci Mane, relieved him of some of his possessions, and basically forced him to sign a contract releasing Pooh Shiesty from 1017, the label.
Okay, well, here's the thing on that, right?
That's what a lot of people are saying. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying a lot of people.
No, hold on. I
hit a couple industry insiders just to get their thoughts. Like, yo, you think this is true? They all heard the same rumor as me, and they all weren't able to confirm 100%.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? It's one thing. If he got a release, then maybe it's some truth to it.
Yeah.
If he don't got a release, there's no truth to it. But I think it's bullshit because why would Pooh Shiesty's, we haven't heard Gucci Mane mention any of this, and why would Pooh Shiesty's team put that out when this is identical to the same type of case, controlling case, he just did time in the feds on?
And I agree. That sounds insane to get out of doing 4 years in the feds and then immediately do something that would basically get you right back in the feds.
No, that's not insane.
This sounded absurd. It was like I said, reality is stranger than fiction. Like there are certain storylines that you wouldn't even imagine. Gucci Mane, who was known as a psycho, who was sticking people up, who had killed somebody that was out to get him, who had been in and out of jail, him getting robbed by his own artist and being forced to sign over his own artist, like you couldn't even imagine something like this. It didn't make sense. When I heard this, I'm like, this can't completely be a lie, but this has got to be embellished or something like that, right? Well, no, it wouldn't be, because we would get the indictment. One thing I want to do is I want to correspond the self-snitchery or the premonition, you could say, or the omen of Pooh Shiesty, his hit song when he was released. Keep in mind, Pooh Shiesty went in. I'm going to do like a whole longer breakdown, but Pooh Shiesty went into prison for several years, and then he gets out. He drops a song first day out, and it's a hit. It's a banger. Everybody's listening to it. FDO. Well, not everybody, because when Academics was telling people about it in this live stream call, they were like, what? That's a hit? I just don't think they were tapped in. But yeah, that song's a hit. Well, in that song, we're going to correspond some lyrics exactly to pages within the criminal complaint that was released, because Pooh Shiesty was arrested alongside his father, alongside Big 30, who's an artist that was signed to him, who I loved Big 30's music, especially when he first came out. Like, these guys were just fire. The new 1017, Big Scar, and this stems from a big... The disagreement and the anger between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane stems with how Big Scar's funeral and death was handled, because Big Scar had an accidental overdose and he's very close with Pooh Shiesty. But let's just pull up the lyrics to the song FDO. Keep in mind, FDO was released in 2025. This event, the alleged robbery and kidnapping, happened on January 10th, 2026. Keep in mind that date, January 10th, because it's so important, because we're going to connect this to something that I haven't seen anybody connect it to. And it's just, like I said, reality is stranger than fiction. So he says, KD patient, he might spank him next year or tomorrow. Keep in mind the song dropped 2025. This event happened 2026. In the criminal complaint, it says, this is Kadarius Waters, whose nickname is KD. KD, the shooter, they name themselves after shooters. Or NBA players. Shooters name themselves after NBA players. In the complaint, paragraph 18 identifies Waters by the name KD and states he possessed a firearm and held victims at gunpoint. And then in paragraph 41, it describes him as Williams Jr., who's Pooh Shiesty's right-hand man. His Instagram is KD375X. So Pooh Shiesty name-dropping the guy who would later help him kidnap and rob Gucci Mane, calling him patient. And like I said, he was clearly patient because since Pooh Shiesty's released, this has been a problem. And it says that Kadarius Waters, KD, was armed and ready to go when that time came. See, my daddy, my first co-defendant, jumped in the streets, he showed me lanes. So this is Lontrell Williams Sr., who's his real father. And in this complaint, Sr. is a co-defendant. In this complaint, in this case, and he's talking about the past, so past and future. So in paragraph 6, it shows Williams Sr. booking the studio and setting up the meeting. And in paragraphs 15 and 29, it shows Williams Sr. advising on the forced contract paperwork and going to Staples to print the fake release documents. And then in paragraph 30, it details how Williams Sr., Pooh Shiesty's dad, got the studio, helped in forcing RD, who was Roderick Davis, who was Gucci Mane's signature, and he was captured on surveillance entering that building without the Shiesty. So it's Shiesty. There's no Shiesty Jr. There's Lontrell Williams Jr., who's Pooh Shiesty, but Pooh Shiesty with the Shiesty mask, he's the first of his name. His dad was not Shiesty Sr. Shiesty calls it his dad his first co-defendant. And here they are, and they're charged together. And he says, unfortunately, I'm CEO and the top shooter from my gang. So in the complaint, paragraph 13, Pooh Shiesty, he personally pulled out an AK-style weapon on Gucci Mane and demanded that he sign his release papers. And in paragraph 22, they describe him placing the barrel of the gun to BP's head, who's another individual. And he ran the whole operation, and he was the one doing the shooting and the threatening himself. So he's the CEO and the top shooter. Another lyric, I signed a deal, then went to jail. They ain't even see me pop my ish. In paragraph 4, Pooh Shiesty was signed to RD's label 1017 since approximately 2021. And in paragraph 28, it confirmed that he was serving a 63-month federal sentence for firearms conspiracy. He's just out on a halfway house right now. So he hasn't fully completed his sentence. He's just allowed to be in the halfway house. He's allowed to go do some normal things and has to come back to it. And he signed with Gucci Mane, blew up, went to prison, and this whole issue was about wanting out of the deal, which led to the kidnapping. Next lyric, out on papers with a 922G sitting on my counter. I'm out on papers with a fully ARP sitting on the counter. In paragraph 28, Pooh Shiesty was at home detention with an ankle monitor as of Halloween 2025 with conditions specifically prohibiting him from possessing deadly weapons. And in paragraphs 10 and 13, they confirm he was wearing an ankle monitor on the day of the offense and still pulled out this AK-style pistol. And he's rapping about being on supervised release with guns out on his counter, and that's exactly the situation when he committed this crime. Soon I see my Memphis homies, amen, say man. And in paragraph 30, Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson, all the people involved, traveled from Memphis to Dallas. Pooh Shiesty, he was in Dallas already. So this was around January 8th to the 9th when they traveled from Memphis to Dallas. It's like a 6.5-hour drive. Now, these guys do this a lot. A lot of these hood street dudes, they're not hopping on planes. You guys remember Kodak Black years ago. He got caught bringing guns into Canada or trying to bring guns from Canada. They just drive. Fujiano, this guy was traveling across states. He was only driving. They would rather drive 10, 12, 15, 18 hours because it's safer. There's no paperwork, I guess, because they tried to take a Greyhound bus back to Memphis so that they wouldn't get caught. But the point is, Glover and McDaniel were also Memphis-based, and he called up his Memphis homies to come do the job. And then I sicked a C-girl on the ops. She left an AirTag in his glove box. Now, there's a little bit of irony here, because in the complaint, in paragraph 20 and footnote 4, it was the victims who had AirTags. So on Initials MM's Louis Vuitton bag, AirPods, and wallet, those AirTags helped the investigators track the suspects, in this case Pooh Shiesty's movements after the robbery. And Shiesty raps about using AirTags for tracking the ops. But in this case, it was AirTags that helped build the case against him. 901-375-0762, call my bluff. 901, Memphis area code. 375 is the recurring number across all of the co-defendants' IG handles. You got KD375X, Baby Slime 375X, Glizzy 375, Damn Fool 375, Mukuru 375. And in footnote 14 in the complaint, it even explains that 375 comes from the Pooh, Shiesty, and Big 30 song Message 375. So he's shouting out the whole entire crew that the FBI used to connect all these guys together. And 762, that's in reference to, I believe, the Bullets, because that was one of his first songs to blow up. 762 God. 7 Foreigns, Rose Gold, My First Day Out, Damn Fool. So this one, Damn Fool, who's Terrence Rogers, his nickname is Damn Fool or Damn Fool 375. And in paragraph 17, it identifies Rogers as CMO Damn Fool, who searched BP's pockets, who I believe was the police officer, like undercover police security, and stole his wallet. And in paragraph 42 and 43, it showed Rogers posting Instagram videos 5 days later flashing the stolen Batman Rolex. So he's flashing the stuff that he stole here. And Shiesty shouts him out by name at the end of the song. And he also said, smelled his plot from like 3 miles away. He can't outsnake a snake. So in the complaint, paragraph 4 showed the whole meeting was a setup from the start. So Pooh Shiesty allegedly invited Gucci Mane to Dallas under the pretense of discussing business. So he smelled his plot, which was him getting finessed by Gucci Mane, and he feels like he got snaked by Gucci Mane, especially when it comes to the Big Scar situation, who he's very close with, he's brothers with. But I don't know if they're actual brothers. But the real plan was not a business deal. It was to force a contract release at gunpoint. So his father, Pooh Shiesty's father, booked the studio in paragraph 6. He printed fake paperwork in paragraph 29, and the whole Memphis crew drove in 2 days early. So he can outsnake a snake. This is some little finger activity over here. My grandma told me keep my grass low the whole time I'm the snake. So he admits himself to being deceptive, and there doesn't get more deception than this. So paragraph 4 to 6, it showed how the entire meeting was framed as a legitimate business decision, with the father even telling the studio owner they were coming to record music. So it was a trap that they played off as a studio session. I just ordered a gun store. Nobody ain't got more chop than us. And in paragraph 16, when the robbery kicked off, 6 of the co-defendants produced handguns or AR-AK pistols. 6 of them. So these guys were all strapped for a quote-unquote business deal. Not just one guy, not just 2 guys, all of them. In paragraph 13, it was even Pooh Shiesty that pulled out one from his bag. So everybody came armed, just like he brags about. Ain't nobody got more chop than them. Every single person armed. Reorganize my whole gang on Sundays. We work on our aim. So the complaint showed clearly an organized operation. They traveled 2 days in advance. The dad handled the paperwork and the logistics. They retrieved a bag that was believed to contain firearms. That was in paragraph 8. And each person had a specific role during the robbery. You had one guy blocking the door. You had one guy luring him in. You had another guy getting the paperwork. This was an organized operation. And they were clearly working on their aim if all of them are up and pull. In the same scat pack since I left, that mean you stuck. And the getaway vehicles were a Dodge Charger Hellcat registered to Wright's father, which is paragraph 25, and a Dodge Mopar Loyalty. The Charger was later stolen from the Comfort Inn, which you can see in paragraph 35. I get mad when I look around and my members ain't where they supposed to be. And on the day that this happened, paragraph 8 shows all 9 suspects arrived together at 3:43 p.m. So they were exactly where they were supposed to be. They didn't want to get Shiesty mad. Everybody showed up. Tell me this is not one of the craziest things you've ever seen. And then on top of that, you want to remember when I said to remember the date, January 10th, 2026? Guess what he was doing? Not only was he doing that, on January 10th, 2026, this video was posted everywhere on social media.
Supersede indictment, man. This the indictment out the original indictment. So we got indicted twice. So they smacked us with more charges, thinking that it would break us or make us. Conspiracy to possess firearms in front of the drug trafficking, violent crimes. 3 other sided you will ever see name on a piece of paperwork. Bankroll, D-roll. These solid. These solid. We kept it G. We traumatized about this, man. For real. I really went through it. You better watch our mouth when y'all say the name, cuz I was facing 20 plus or 20 plus another 20 plus life. Never told it, never folded. All my shit add up. Yeah, Every page add up. You see 1 through 10 on anything. Stop playing with a name made for real. You don't know the half of this or what's really going on. Yeah, my paperwork 4,000 pages long. I go all day with this. You don't know what really going on. You know what you see on the internet. You content creating.
So yes, on January 10th, after it must have been that morning or maybe later after they got done with the alleged robbery, the thing on Pooh Shiesty's mind was showing paperwork to prove that him and his co-defendants stayed solid while facing 60 years in prison. And when you look at some of those co-defendants, you see bankroll 375 on there. You see some of his other homies as well. So clearly, the only thing on this guy's mind was, yo, we're solid. And the reason why is because he was alleged to have snitched or have had paperwork on him by Whack 100, who has also now recently said that his father has paperwork, which a bunch of people seem to agree on. But it looks like they're going to be co-defendants again. So yeah, I just wanted to connect all. I really wanted to do a deep dive just on the indictment and the song lyrics, because this is going to be Gucci Mane's greatest gift. Because there are obviously, like, even if Gucci Mane goes on the stand, cooperates, whatever you want to call it, they're going to look at the paperwork, and already FDO is Gucci Mane's song. They can't revert that. They were just trying to get Pooh Shiesty out of the deal. Now that's probably going to get dropped, and that's not going to happen. But FDO is going to be one of the most streamed songs, because when somebody gets locked up like this and he's rapping all of his lyrics that he did, it's like Murder on My Mind moment. And then all of the time, all of the news articles we're going to get, all of the promo cycle around this, and people looking into his friends and the co-defendants, that's just going to be more streams and more attention for the song FDO. And who's that going into his pockets? The money for that? Pooh Shiesty, of course, but also Gucci Mane. So yeah, Gucci Mane, he lost the battle, but he is surely going to win this war. I sent a tweet out in reaction to this where I said some rappers just hate freedom, and I went through the brief story of Pooh Shiesty blowing up in 2020, same year robs and shoots sneaker dealer in front of police station, shoots inside a club in 2021, which he also rapped about before he did. 2022, prison for 5 years, released early, has another hit song, and my stuff gets taken word for word, bar for bar, insert Soulja Boy clip by Say Cheese. Like, come on, whoever's running, I know it's not Sean Cotton, but like, dog, at least like they just copied and pasted my whole thing with the formula too. Like, at least switch it up. Like, the person that's running this page, listen, I respect the game. I respect the hustle, especially because I got a good amount of likes on this and views. Now, if they got more than me, I'd be heated. But, yo, they got to switch it up a little bit. Like, we got tools like ChatGPT. Like, at least throw it in there and say, like, yo, can you mix this up a little bit? Like, come on, dog. What's up with that? I just wanted to throw that in at the end of the video. I thought it was a funny moment because I saw it on my feed. I'm like, wait, what? How am I seeing my tweet on my feed? And I was like, oh, it's not my page. But yeah, we're going to stay updated on this situation. And man, I wish I could say it was sad, but this is just unreal. Like, this is probably the most unreal thing we've gotten since the King Von situation. Or you could say what's the Bronx drill rapper's name? That's how you know. The guy that shot him, the Montclair murderer. Let's give him that name, Double M, not the guy that's in this indictment. But yeah, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, man.